Welcome to On The Bit. I'm Dave from Dream Thoroughbreds, and with me is Lenny from Bluegrass Bloodstock. How are you, Lenny?
Good, Dave.
Well, yeah, the punters were very happy after last week, mate. A running double we selected. Yeah, your best on breeding into my value bet. Paid $185 that running double.
I'd like to say I got a piece of that, but I didn't.
No, not did I actually. But Legolas Verve was about 30 to 1 when you tipped it. We came into 12s, and Sacred Elixir was 6 on Thursday. Actually ended up racing at about 11 or 12 bucks. So unbelievable value last week. So hopefully we can back it up, mate. It's a huge weekend of racing.
Massive.
Group 1 racing, and actually the big grand finals as well, the AFL and the NRL. So we'll get straight into it. There's a Group 1 on Friday night. It's the $500,000 Moir Stakes over 1,000 metres, mate, at Moonee Valley, and rail in the true position, track likely to be probably soft. And who do you think will win the Moir, mate?
Dave, I'm pretty hard to go past Chautauqua.
Yeah.
Wait for age, you know, that's where he's at his best. He's unbeaten at the track, unbeaten over the distance. I actually think he's probably a better horse going around the turn.
Yeah, I think so too.
And his last couple of wins have been breathtaking. So, from all reports, he's flying. He's going real good, and he's won 5 from 6 first up. I just find it pretty hard to tip against him. So, Chautauqua for me.
Yeah, I think he dominates the race. He's unbeaten, as you say, track and distance. First up form is unbelievable, 5 wins from 6. Small field means he won't be giving them that much start. As if it was a capacity field, he might have got, been giving them a few more legs start. The other advantage is that the field is just full of speedsters, and they really are pretty one-dimensional, and they only know really one way of racing, and that's to go full tilt. So it's going to set up a very fast tempo in this race, and it'd be great to see him coming down the outside and knocking them off. Dwayne Dunn rides. He rides Moonee Valley better than most, and really hard to see him get beat here. I thought the $2.20 was unbelievable, luxurious odds for the best sprinter in the world, and he's on the bit. Get us off to a good start Friday night.
That's it.
Then on Saturday, we've got grand final day in Melbourne, the AFL, but we have some Group 1s at Randwick in Sydney, and the first one is the Flight Stakes. So I don't think you've got anything in the Flight Stakes, but I'll just quick rundown of that. Oh My Sword has been scratched from this race, so it really now opens up the race. She was a moral, I thought. Yankee Rose is now the short price favourite, but I'm looking for a bit of an upset here. Cezanne could cause a bit of a boil over. She was the horse that had the pumping duel with Fox Play at their last run at about the 200. She couldn't go with Fox Play that day, and but she was still coming on the line. I just thought the step up to 1,600 metres would really help her in this race. J-Mac goes on board, so he's riding for Chris Waller this week, which is an interesting association. She's bred in the purple, looks a nice chance now that there's only 6 runners left. She was $9 in a 6-horse field. I thought she was great value on the bit. The main Group 1 for the day is the $1 million Epsom handicap at Randwick, mate. And a very open Epsom. Who are you going for, mate?
Dave, I thought it was okay speed. Fabrizio probably leads from Sons of Job, Dimiani, McIntosh. I thought my selection, Hauraki, should be able to glide across and get a nice trot. His form's first rate, winning the tramway at Randwick on a soft track, which might be soft Saturday, I think. And then he was a very good second to the best horse in the land at Wait for Age in Winks. Back to a handicap conditions here. I think he's a special with 56 kilos on his back, and I think he's on the bit for me.
I'm sticking with Chris Waller in this. He's really starting to dominate these big mile races in Sydney. I thought McIntosh was the one. He's at a typical Waller prep leading into this, keeping him fresh and sharp enough to win at the 1,600. He struck a purple patch of form in the winter, and he was a strong winner first up. He goes from 1,400 first up to the 1,600, which will suit him. I don't think he's actually a stayer anyway. I think his maximum is probably about 2,000 metres for this horse. He'll sit barrier 2, as you say. He'll sit on pace. And I think that's where you want to be when the whips start cracking over the rise here at Randwick. He's got 52 kilos, so he gets a bit of weight relief off the main rivals. I think you'll need to go wide in the quaddies, but $11 each way, I thought he was on the bit. The second big Group 1 in Sydney is the $750,000 Metrop, which is the final Group 1 on Saturday, mate, at Randwick. And who you on in the Metrop, mate?
Dave, I thought it was It was an interesting race, enough speed in it for a mile and a half handicap. I like the upcoming Wallace star and Antonio Giuseppe, who's drawn pretty well, has the services of one of the better staying jocks in the land in G-Boss, and was very impressive in benchmark 78 over 2000 at Rose Hill. Obviously this is a step up in class, but with that he gets a big drop in weight and drops 8 kilos for that. I think the mile and a half suits on the minimum, and I think it'll prove very hard to hold out.
It's just ditto for me, mate. You said everything I was going to say. Drops down in weight, G-Boss on board, one of the best staying jockeys in Australia. Love him or hate him. Yeah, his big weight drop. I thought he was progressive. I know this is a big class rise for him, going from a 78 to a class 1, but again, you probably need to go wide in the quaddies, but I thought he was a little bit skinny at the $6 what he opened up, but I expect him to be about $8 or $9 on the tote on the day, so I still thought he was a big chance each way on the bit. So that finishes off Saturday. Now we go to Sunday. We've got a big meeting on Sunday at Flemington, mate, which is the Turnbull Stakes, due to the grand final being played on the Saturday. They run this meeting on the Sunday. And there's a big Group 1, which was one of the big feature Group 1s of the spring, which is the $500,000 Turnbull Stakes over 2,000 metres. And this is a race run at set weights and penalties, not at weight for age. So interesting weight race this one is, and some horses can get in really well on the weight.
They can. They are pretty much, so it was pretty cut and dry. Hartnell brings his form down from Sydney. Which I can't see why he won't. I think he's in a different vein of form at the moment. He always had big raps on him in Europe, and he's starting to deliver now. He's won by a combined margin of 13 lengths his last 2 runs. He's drawn well in 4. Whether it's wet or dry, there is rain predicted. Obviously Flemington holds up, but if they get rain on the day, that doesn't worry him. And I think you get a lovely run on the speed. I think there's a few others, like Jamaica's obviously slash and run last start, but I think she's qualified now for a Caulfield Cup, so she can just sort of tick along. So yeah, hard one for me.
Yeah, well, I think she goes in the Caulfield Cup. She drops in weight on this run. That's, I think, key to her in this race too. The weights don't really favour her as much as what they will in the Caulfield Cup. I thought it was a dead set race in 2. Again, I say ditto about Hartnell. He's on a Cox Plate path, ideal lead-up race for him. Flying in Sydney. Admittedly, the way he's been winning, I think, has probably been a bit exaggerated by what he's been beating, but his ratings have actually been better than Winks in her lead-ups. And Winks isn't there on Saturday, so I just think this suits him ideally. He's an umpire's type of stayer, sit about 2 pairs back. And I just think he'll outsprint his rivals in the run to the line. He does like the sting out of the ground. I think he is a better horse with the sting out of the ground, and with that rain you talked about, it pretty much suits him. So if it rains, I think he's even more of a moral. The weight is a big advantage for him. J-Mac comes over. I expect him to win this and be a real chance in the Cox Plate. He's 220. He's short, but I just think he's a certainty, so he's on the bit. The other horse I thought would be the Cronulla horse is the United States. Huge run, first up at Moonee Valley. He goes well second up. He's been a month between runs. I just think Hartnell will probably have the fitness edge over him this week. But I expect him to be in the finish, and he's going towards that Cox Plate as well. So I like him for the Cronulla. Stable News, Lenny. Mossendale, another win.
Yeah, Mossendale, another win, and he's done a good job now. He goes out and has a well-deserved break. His brothers come over, so he's a little bit bigger than Mossendale, and nice horse, so probably 6 months away, but we'll see how he goes. And Bluegrass has got the first 2-year-old race in Adelaide, whether they run or not, because they've had a lot of rain. But Pasito, Nakoni Colt purchased from the Magic Million, so good luck to all the owners that are involved in him. If they run the race, I hope he goes a really nice race. Pretty good to have a runner in the first 2-year-old race. It's hard to get them up this time of the season. We've got Mr. Sneaky running, I think it's next Thursday at Bendigo in a 1400 metre race, so you might want to watch out for that before next week's edition of On The Bit. And our Denman Colt, we were there on Tuesday to watch him jump out at Caulfield. It was a heavy track, there was a lot of overnight rain on the Monday night, but he jumped out really well. Settled sort of
just off the leader, drifted back a little bit, a couple of lengths off him, and then pushed up again and finished second on the line. So he looks very promising. He's going to have another jump out this coming Tuesday. He's a big chance to run during the spring if he gets through that jump out. So he should be named by next week, and
he's a lovely horse. He's a proper 2-year-old.
Yeah,
so.
Still shares available in him too, so anyone interested can get into contact with me. Okay, best on breeding, Lenny. Now you're under pressure. You've given a $16 winner last week, so what do you got this week for the punters?
I don't know what price Kaching is at the Valley, but I reckon he'll be...
It's about 6 or 7.
6 or 7s. Beautifully bred, So You Think colt. They paid a lot of money for him, $430,000 from the 2015 Magic Millions yearling. So I have a stakes place Desert Sun there in Sunsong, who's a 3/4 sister to Champion, Sunline, who was 3 times Australian Horse of the Year and 4 times New Zealand Horse of the Year. Sunsong has already produced a stakes place Zombie Dancer, so Kaching for me.
Yeah, it was a good run last start, big run. Value bet for me is Flemington on Sunday, race 4, number 2, the quarterback. This horse excels down in Flemington Straight. He won the Newmarket in the autumn, beating Chautauqua. He's in a set weights race on Sunday, and he only gives the bottom weight 2 kilos. It was $6.50 when he opened. I thought it was great value on offer. He's on the bid. It looks an each way special to me. Just like Sacred Elixir last week, he eased out to $12. If he eases out, he'd be even better value. So yeah, get on him on Sunday. On the bid special, Lenny, who are we on this one, mate?
Caulfield on Saturday, which is sort of just a benchmark sort of meeting, but I think there's a pretty nice horse there, and there's a spruik horse in Miss Vista.
Yep.
I think she's found a really nice race. He's placed her well, I think, here. She's unbeaten. Form lines around her are pretty good. Fleur Fatale, I think, was a pretty nice horse. And she resumes here, Miss Vista, in a benchmark 70. And with the claim of Ben Allen, she gets him with a winning weight of 55.5, only a kilo and a half above the minimum, and it's a pretty sort of average sort of field. So I think it just wins.
Exciting horse. And Dream Thoroughbreds is sponsoring 2 races at Caulfield on Saturday, so
is that one of them?
we'll be watching. I'm not sure if that's one of them. Hopefully it is. If you can get involved with the owners of Miss Vista. Okay, my on the bid special is at Mooney Valley on Friday night, race 7, number 7, Estamine. She flies first up. She has trialled up well. She loves Mooney Valley. She loves the 955 metre races at Mooney Valley as well. I think she'll posse up pretty handy to the leaders and can dominate this race off the front pace. Barrier is the only concern, but that just gives you better odds. So she's $3.50. I thought she was on the bit and gets the weekend off to a good start with Chautauqua. Off the bit, Lenny. Who are you laying this week, mate?
He's only second favourite, but he might, they might back him, the Victorians anyway. Palantino. I think I think it's been documented. Weir hasn't won a race in Sydney.
He hasn't got a record in Sydney. And
I don't think it's going to happen on Saturday. I think Palantino's going right-handed the first time. He's carrying top weight, and he's he's been running in weight for age lead-ups and that, and now it comes to a handicap. One of the better handicaps run in Sydney, the reverse way. I just think that there's a fair bit of risk factor about him, and some of those lighter weighted horses I think will prove hard to catch, and he's also drawn a sticky 8 and 9. But yeah, obviously horses like Hauraki and La Romaine and Macintosh, are going to be pretty hard to hold out with less weight.
It is hard when you go into state to try and pick them up, isn't it? So I'm the same. I'm off the bit with a horse that's from Sydney coming to Melbourne, the Mooney Valley race 8, number 4, Sir Bacchus. He's a horse he's drawn barrier 3, but he's a horse that gets back in the run. And in this big field, I think he'll get shuffled back at Mooney Valley. I just think the speed map here tells the story. He does have a big finish, but on a tight track, getting shuffled back, he's $2.60 favourite in this. He's opened up. I'd risk him. He's off the bit for mine. So, as we said, a big weekend of football racing. Who's your tip in the grand final, mate?
The doggies.
The doggies? Yeah, well, everyone, I think I'd love to see the doggies win. But everyone likes Sydney too, so I'll probably go the Sydney way. But anyway, good luck and we'll see you next week.
Cheers.